YouTube, what it do, what it do? Y'all already know who it is. I'm bringing y'all another one. Got the mid-fade tutorial with the afro on top. About to show y'all how to get it done. Let's go. As y'all can see, I got my client draped up and he about to get dripped out. Getting the last little things ready so I can go ahead and start this fade. Again, if y'all have any questions, man, drop it in the comments. Let me know and I got you. Alright, so as you can see, we into it. We in it. We all the way live. We to the wall. We balls to the wall. Go ahead and start making that ball line into my beginner barbers. Keep in mind, I have been cutting for 15 years. 15 long years. So if you see me doing something, like right now, I just started making the ball line. I didn't cut the length down or nothing like that. I wouldn't suggest you trying to do that. I would suggest that you cut the length down some so you can see exactly what you're doing. It's not hard for me to make clean lines. Clean lines equals a clean fade. Sloppy lines, sloppy fade. Crooked lines, crooked fade. Ugly lines, ugly fade. Beautiful lines, beautiful fade. Do you get where I'm coming from? I'm pretty sure you do. So, just to help y'all out, I usually start my fades with the half. It don't matter what it is, I start my fades with the half, but right here, I went ahead and slapped on the 3 guard, and I'm cutting down the size to the 3. That way, for my beginner barbers who are actually watching, trying to learn something, you can clearly see what I'm doing. I cut the hair down so y'all can see what I'm doing. So I just got that knocked down to the 3, and I'm picking out the top of the hair. That way I can blend that bulk to that 3 and work my way down from there. Now, of course, it's like common sense ain't common. We done already established that. So you have to pick out the hair. You have to comb out the hair. You cannot start blending bulk to anything and not pick out the hair. It's not gonna come out right. It's not gonna look right. It's not gonna blend right. It's not gonna cut right. It's not gonna be right. So don't do it. Pick it out. After that, then you can start moving down to the fade. And as you can see, I'm doing clipper over comb. It don't matter if it's straight hair, wavy hair, curly hair, black hair, white hair, brown hair, red. It don't matter. The techniques do not change. The steps do not change. Might be a slight adjustment here and there, but as far as that, it doesn't change. So I've blended the bulk into that 3. Now I'm going back over my ball line, making sure my ball line is straight, that it's crispy, and that it is the way I need it to be to get this crispy fade the way I want it to look. So y'all already know, on the Master Fade channel, we start our fades halfway open or with a half. Then starting the fade all the way open with a 1, you're creating an extra step. That's an extra step of blending that you got to take out that line. Instead of 2 notches, it's 3. So why give yourself an extra step when you don't have to have one? Start the fade with the half. I don't know why barbers start their fades with a 1. That's just because then you got to go to the half, then to the clipper all the way closed, then to the edger to get that line out, versus just going from the half all the way closed to the edger. And usually if you got your clipper set right, once you go from the half to all the way closed, that line is very faint. So when you pick your edges up, it's barely just picking, it's barely touching the side of the head to get that line out. With a 1, it's a whole 3-4 steps. It's just for what? Work smarter, not harder. So I blended out that line. Now I got the 1.5 guard on, and I'm making another line, and of course halfway open. But I am taking down that 3 into the ball, into the skin, starting with the 1.5 guard, halfway open, halfway closed, whichever one. You don't really same shit. And I'm blending that out, flicking the wrist. It's a combination of flicking the wrist, shoulder, all in one. Shoulder working with the wrist working with the shoulder, all in one to get that lean with it, rock with it motion. You don't want to just go straight up and down. That's how you create lines, and you will never get a line out of a fade just going up, stopping out the line. You have to go through the line and then come off of it, through the line and then come off of it. So as you can see, the fade is starting to come together like real quick. Some clients is quicker than others. Some clients got real thick hair, so the fade won't really start coming together till you get to the point where you have no guard on the clippers. Some fades come together when you got the zero guard on the clippers. This particular client, his fade started coming together real nice before I even got to the zero guard. So by the time I finished with the zero guard and go down to just, the clippers by themselves, no guard, it wasn't much picking and blending I had to do. It just kind of just came off. So some clients are going to be easier than others. Some clients are going to be quicker than others, but the steps don't change. Master the steps, master the steps, master the steps, master the steps. So with his haircut, I've cut him several times, so I'm very, very familiar with his head. And he's one of the clients that I'll have the fade done in 12 to 15 minutes. And I'll spend the duration of the haircut on the detail work, making sure the fade is blended, making sure the bald is all bald, making sure my lines is clean, making sure the fade is even, that it ain't higher on one side than the other, that everything's proportional. The top is even, one side ain't higher than the other, or it's cut uneven. And once I finish that, I put the edge up on, and then I go and do the detail work into the edge up. And it's not hard, you just gotta take your time and learn. Speed comes with time. Don't try to you can't be a beginner barber and try to do a haircut in 15 minutes. If you're a beginner barber and you do a haircut in 15 minutes, I couldn't imagine what that haircut looks like. Like, Lord have mercy. So right here, I'm getting ready to do the edge up, and I turned him to the camera because a lot of barbers, he had a lot of length on his edge up, and a lot of barbers don't cut the length off of the edge up so you can see the edge up before they start edging. They just start cutting into the edge up, not knowing where the overhang stops and the actual hairline starts, and then they end up going in too far, and now you got to push back hairline, and you got to push it even more back to fix it. So pay attention to that. Like, if you got a guy with an afro, pull the afro back from the hairline so you can see where the actual hairline starts, so you can see how much hair is actually just hanging over the edge up, and you cut that hair off as you saw me do with the shears, and then you start the edge up. And that's exactly what I did. And now he had a cowlick right in the middle of his head where his hair was growing down, but then in the middle of the edge up, the hair started growing back into his hair, the complete other direction. So that's where I started his edge up, at the bottom of that line. You don't cut into the cowlick. You start at the bottom of the cowlick and go straight across on each side. In those situations, you gotta cut a little bit, look at it, cut a little bit, look at it, cut a little bit, look at it, until you get it how you want it. When I'm doing the C-cups, I use the corner of the blade because it allows me to get the C how I want it to look. If you use the whole clippers and part of that blade touches a piece of that edge up that you don't want to touch or you wasn't looking at, now I done took hair away that you need to make that edge up look crispy, to make that C-cup look like an actual C instead of just a doggone line on the side of the head, so it actually curves. I would highly suggest using the corner of the blade. That way you're in full control and nothing's being cut unless you're actually cutting it. Cause I've done that several times. I'm edging one side of the edge up and look on the other side of the blade and like, damn, I did not want that to do that. I needed that hair. So it is what it is sometimes. But you just gotta pay attention to what you're doing. So his fade came out real nice. And he didn't have much facial hair, but I went ahead and lined up the little chin strap he had. And I take pride in relaxation during the haircuts. Sometimes I got the jazz music on, or I might have a game on depending on what day it is. I take pride in my clients being fully relaxed and comfortable in the chair, because you don't know who you got in your chair. You don't know what they do outside the shop. You don't know, some clients you do know, you know where they work, they, pretty much their whole schedule. But some clients, you don't know what they deal with. So some people come in the barbershop, and that 45 minutes to an hour that you're cutting their hair, that might be the only time during the day where they can have a moment to themselves, close their eyes, relax, It ain't like they get a haircut every day. They get a haircut, once every week, every 2 weeks. So this might be the only time that they have to seriously close their eyes and relax and, truly enjoy the process. So that's why you don't rush through people's haircuts. Don't get me wrong. Some people ain't got 30, 45 minutes to be in the chair. Some people got 25 minutes in and out, quick ball, high ball fade, one on top. Thank you, man. And they out of there. And then some people got however long it takes for their haircut to be finished to get their haircut. So it's truly good to get to know your clients and develop a relationship with them and develop some type of chemistry with them to where when that customer sits in your chair, when that client sits in your chair, this man just got out of work, he been in the heat, let me go ahead and put a hot towel on his face, or something like that to help with the relaxation, to help the rest of his day be a little smoother. So anybody that I have in my chair that gets their facial hair done, you getting a hot towel. You getting a hot towel. It is what it is. I was trained by old school barbers. When I went to barber college, I'm in San Antonio, Texas right now. When I went to barber college, it was one school in the city, Williams Barber College on WW White, right next to Popeye's Chicken. If you wanted to be a barber, you had to go to that school. You had no choice. You had to go to that school. Now, it's barbershops everywhere. Everywhere. Not only barbershops, it's barber colleges everywhere. I think it's probably about 20 barber colleges now in San Antonio, Texas. And man, I got a lot of work to do with this recording because I need to do a better job, make sure the camera is where y'all can see what the hell I'm doing. So bear with me, man, laugh with me, shoot. I remember actually turning the camera, so eventually I get so into my work, sometimes I forget the damn camera's even going, which is a good thing. You don't want your barber to not be into your haircut. You don't want your barber to half-ass your haircut. Like when I'm cutting hair and somebody come and try to get my attention, you gotta call my name at least twice before I look up, because when I lock in, I zone in, and if I got music playing, I don't hear nothing but the music and the sound of my clippers, and I'm in my groove, and everything else is blocked out. So, to my beginner barbers, as you can see, I'm using the enhancements. This is Kiss Express. I heard barbers say 50 Kiss, 50 alcohol. That is bullshit. Let me be the first to say that is bullshit. When you're mixing this mixture, depending on the size of the bottle you're using, determines how much Kiss and how much alcohol you use. It also determines on how black you want the paint, or are you gonna mix a little brown in there. That shit is trial and error. You have to get it to where you want it to look. If you want it slightly brown, you have to mix dark. You have to mix black and brown together. If you want it black, you have to mix it to where it looks black, but it don't look purple. So, like I said, depending on the size of the bottle, it might be 60% Kiss, 40 alcohol, or vice versa. But just straight 50-50, that is bullshit. You're gonna have to experiment. You're gonna have to keep mixing and put a little bit of this and put a little bit of that until you get it right. I guarantee if you just go 50 alcohol and 50 Kiss, you're gonna be pissed off because that shit is not gonna look mixed the way you think it is. It is trial and error. I don't know why these other barbers that is bullshit. They just lying to y'all. But at the same time, I cut hair from 2010 to 2018, 19 before I even touched an enhancement. I didn't know nothing about enhancements. Well, I did. I knew about the Began. You got the little yellow and black bottle. You mix it all up. I knew about that, but I wasn't using that stuff. My edge ups was crispy from the hot towel, and I learned and mastered the razor. That is how my edge ups always came out crispy. It wasn't until when all this stuff started coming out, I still didn't jump on the wave. I was still cutting, and customers was coming, hey man, you don't do this, you don't not do that. I'm like, well, I can, if you want me to do it, I can, but You know how I get down. And people started asking for that stuff, so I started doing it. So I came in with the Kiss, and then I backdoored it with the hair fibers, because when I put the hair fibers on top of the spray, it makes it look natural. It makes it look natural black, like it's the actual hair. You can tell fibers from paint. And I do a very, very light coat of the brown black mixture of the Kiss Express, and then I finish it and top it off with the fibers, which gives it that natural black hair look. And then the pencil, that gives it that ash look. The ash looks comes from when you put a hot towel on somebody's face. It dries out their skin. It takes the oil out their hair. So when you come back door with those clippers on a dry head, it gives it that ash line, that crispy ash line. So instead of barbers using a hot towel and doing it the correct way, they came up with a cheat code and created this fucking white ass pencil. And when you outline the edge up with that white pencil and then go back and edge it up and hit it with the razor, it gives it the ash line effect. That's where that comes from. But the original ash line comes from the hot towel. I know that because I did it for 8 years before there was ever a fucking pencil. So as you can see, that's the finished product. Master_Phase 210. Holla at me.